Mulching. So I like to use cardboard as kind of a mulch layer, really just to kind of retain that water, moisture retention in the medium there. And some people use various mulches, whether it be barley straw. I mean, you can even get to inorganic mulches, like some people think about even rubber at playgrounds. That's considered a mulch. Stones can be used as a mulch. Like I already said, straw, and then what am I thinking? Wood chips as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But the cardboard one is really the one that I kind of want to highlight because that's what I do. And
super easy.
Yeah.
How much stuff are you get some pizza?
How many Amazon boxes do you get?
Even a pizza, the top of a pizza box that hasn't been touched with much food, or either side of it. Look at all that real estate of space you can cut perfectly into your plant to cut and fit on there.
I would use Amazon boxes, and then trace the pot around, and then cut it to size, and then slice it in half, and then I'd have two halves, and sometimes they even cut out a portion in the middle for the stalk.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you're fit in perfectly within that grow pot, and it helps somebody like me who's in a very dry environment.
Good barrier.
I mean, I'm 20 to 30% RH at all times.
That's why we're always so dry.
Even the winter is lower than that in the teens. I think the lowest I ever saw was like 13.
You never dealt with any pests by you doing that, like having any sort of airflow to the top layer?
No, only beneficials. And we had a whole conversation about how some people see bugs and they think it's a pest. It's actually beneficial. So lots of beneficials. It really helps create a beneficial environment down there.
Oh, yeah. Good one, man. That's a good one. I think we got time for, let's do 2 more.
Let's do a few more, yeah. Bust it out. I think you really like this one, which is a sea of green.
Oh, yeah, sea of green.
Sea of green's a hack.
You don't want to have to wait forever for vegging to get that giant canopy.
Nope.
If you're in a state or a province that allows you to grow up to 12 plants, guess what, brother or sister? You can get you a fat canopy in no time. That's called sea of green. Put a bunch of clones in, essentially in one spot, in one space. Oftentimes, automated watering or drain to waste or a flood table would be ideal, but you could essentially immediately flip these. In that first couple weeks of flowering time, like we talked about in a prior episode, is essentially the veg time that you get. Your plants are going to be maybe a foot tall, and it's going to be all colas. And you can yield, if we're looking per tent or per light, not per plant, you can yield just as much, if not more, going that route than you would from a couple plants in that same space. And you could really have way more harvest per year. Way more. Like you're literally probably doubling your harvest with no veg time. You're doubling. If you do a 2-month veg, but you have a 2-month flower, and now you have no veg and just a 2-month flower, the math is mathin'. Terrence Howard could even add this one up. And I think that when you get into that point of growing and you have to really kill your propagation side of things, like knocking out of the park with propagation. So you have clones all the time. Having one of the AC Infinity propagation tents will be helpful, but it's not going to get you through a sea of green consistently. Not if you're just flipping them, because you got to think about your space. When are you going to be taking clones? If you're taking single babies in there, the perpetual grow may be a little tougher if you're flipping them into flower and you have no space to take clones from. Side branches maybe, but not likely to have them all even and uniform to go to the next run to keep it going. So it's a hack in one sense, but you got to have enough space and enough plant count to be able to do a lot of it.
Nailed it for me. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Keep it moving.
If the sea of green is going to be a technique, then
the screen of green should be too.
Then I think the screen of green should be. I think training in general is a hack, because it's like if you just let this plant grow in its traditional form, you're going to get, it's a beautiful plant. It's going to bear its fruits, and we should be very thankful for what it has to offer to us. But it isn't going to give you the full potential of how much fruit that particular plant can bear. Some of these plants can really handle a training of any form, whether it's a sea of green, a screen of green, whether you're just training one plant for its canopy, for whatever reasons. I think training is a hack to get a lot more product than what one bean could potentially give you. Yeah. That includes cloning. That includes, you should take advantage of training that plant.
Well, I think the specifically the screen of green is a way that you can say, I take a plant and I get a pound per plant. Kind of a hack. It really is. Because it's like, all right, I can only grow 4 plants. Watch me grow 4 plants, baby. These are going to be the biggest plants you've ever seen. You could have 4 AC Infinity 4x4s that run 2 at a time and then the other one comes on partway through your veg. You're doing 2-month veg on each, and you're literally going to harvest every 2 months consistently by flipping it that way with big, massive, fat plants that are able to yield you as much as that 12 little plants could too. But you have to veg for a longer period of time and be more diligent on the work you have to do versus a little bit more automation with the Sea Green. But I definitely look at that as a hack too. That's one thing when I learned I got the most bud I've ever yielded off a single plant in my life was once I did the Screen and Green. Hands down.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
So let's do
This next one.
I've got another one after this one.
I was going to say this one's the one to end off on. So.
Okay. Because I think this one's underutilized. And I kind of wanted to make sure that we stated it because we have talked about peeing on the plant. No, that's not what I was talking about. I'm sure you want to call it a hack and not. I've never tried it. I've heard it's a source of nitrogen. It is what it is. I'm certainly not going to deal with that smell.
No.
So, anyways, I digress. That's not what I was talking about. The using your we talked about this before in another episode of you don't necessarily need these devices. Your phone is a loop. Using your phone as a jeweler's loop.
Your phone is your magnifying glass.
Seriously think that we often overlook this thing right here. And we're like,
forgot it.
Looking for a jeweler's loop, looking for a magnifying glass, looking for something. It's just use your phone, man. You're trying to look at your trichomes, even for pest management. If you want to try to get a good, fine look at your phone or at your plant, you don't need anything elaborate. If you could just use your phone, get in there, get a good, steady picture. I recommend a tripod if you're going to try to get in there and let the plant settle and get a good picture with the buds for the trichomes or for the pests. And just zoom in on that photo after you take it. And you'll be surprised how close and accurate you will be with the picture from your phone. So use your phone instead of a jeweler's loop. Don't spend money. That's really what I'm.
Of course, it could be a newer phone. Go with the flip phone from 20 years ago.
I thought you said an indoor phone. I was like, what?
That's got to be a newer
phone. It can't be your house phone.
It
can't be your phone. No landlines. No landlines for this one.
A newer phone.
Trying to take a pic.
18 megapixels are up, I'd say.
So like these iPhones can obviously do it for many generations. The Samsung, all these newer phones
within the last few years.
Yeah, because I feel like, geez, how many years would you think? Maybe like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, you probably couldn't.
I would put it about that.
Zoom in enough in order to actually see it, get a good clear picture of it. So, But yeah, I mean, I use the same thing ever since I was able to. I'm no longer using the microscope.
Yeah. Don't need it. I can't put my. Here's the biggest reason is I can't put my microscope. I use a jeweler's loop.
They have. I can't things you can get that make it magnify even more.
I have one of those too. Yep. I would be far more inclined to use that than using a jeweler's loop because I can't steady the jeweler's loop when I'm trying to look at the trichomes. I'm like it's frustrating, and of course you'll try to get the best look you can, but it's just save yourself a little time. Get yourself a cheap stand or something. Even prop it up on a tissue box on a table. You'll figure it out. Don't spend money.
Yeah,
just use your phone.
I like that. This being the last one, I do want to say, if you have some other ones that maybe you have stories of using these hacks or you have some other hacks, let us know below in the comment section because there's more we have on the list, and we are definitely going to do another part two.
Part two.
Part two.
Were we finishing off on another one, or did I cast
one more? We got one more.
Hit it.
Actually, this one was thrown out by Rob. So I'll let you get into detail on this one. Mycorrhizal fungi.
Oh, man. This was the secret sauce when I was growing with bottle nutrients. I had buddies who were absolutely crushing it. They were doing organic growing, and they were like, well, man, all it is about the microbes, dude. You just got to be able to get the myco going, dude. So it's just great. The rhizosphere. I'm like, oh, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Until I stumbled on a product called mycosinazose, which at the time, that was my go-to banger. And I put that into my mix, and night and day difference between how quickly I had roots from cloning, transplanting, growing the plant in general, being able to basically have your food be eaten better. Like this is a steroid. This is a straight up hack. Like using nature to make it work for you is the craziest thing I've ever discovered when it comes to like the missing element is adding microbes and beneficial bacteria too.
And it's in Stash Blend.
It is, and that's a huge reason it's in Stash Blend.
And having all those things in Stash Blend is a hack. Bringing everything into one.
You darn right it is. It's all in one, premium, all natural additive that you can add to your plants, along with a base nutrients, is literally there. It is.
There we go.
It's literally as easy as just adding half to a full teaspoon per gallon with your feeding, and you're laughing. It's all in here. Beneficial bacteria.
The mycorrhizal fungi in there that we just talked about, and silica, humic acid.
You ever have people say fungi to you?
I've heard fungi. I think it's in English.
Fungi.
I think fungi is in English.
I'm a fun guy.
Fungi.
This FDS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.